Yes, I'm using a handheld microphone in the comfort of my own home rather than using the normal microphone. It's chucked it. It's just not wanting to work for some reason on my usual software, and I'm not sitting here all night trying to fix it. So we'll pretend it's not here. It's away for now, and we're using one of these instead, which hopefully sounds okay. Yeah, hello, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Three Things I've Learned series. And welcome back to a game where we're going to talk about Celtic 2, Hearts 0. Another win for Celtic, top of the league by 2 points. And let the conspiracies rage on. The conspiracy to win the Scottish Premiership title is well and truly on. And I am loving it. Yes, absolutely loving it. Because, of course, I'm going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about the instant reaction in this video before we uncover a lot more of it tomorrow. We're going to talk about a lot of the reaction to today's game because, of course, Celtic have capitalised on Rangers dropping points yesterday. Fantastic. But they've done it in a fashion which is obviously going to have the bedwetters out and the moon howlers. 2 red cards for Hearts. That's unbelievable. We had 2 red cards yesterday. The SFA are at it. They're at it. That's going to be the general reaction, isn't it? So we're going to talk about it all. But what the main thing is Celtic won the game. That's the main thing. Celtic had to win today's game. We had to take advantage of those drop points yesterday, and we've done exactly that. And let's be real, let's be honest, we probably didn't do it in the prettiest fashion, did we? It could have been better from Celtic today. And I'm not going to be negative because we've won, we've got 3 points, and ultimately we dominated the game, so that's what matters most. But, you know, we could have been better through large spells of the game. I think we were a little bit wasteful in that final third. I think today we just looked... It's just me, we looked a little bit tired as the game went on. We made changes, but we just looked... The way it looked in the last sort of half an hour, 40 minutes, and Kieran Auld argued to me that even maybe from the minute we scored our first goal, we sort of played, and this is what I thought anyway, especially for the second half, we played as if we were sort of 2-3-0 up, when that wasn't the case. We were only 1-0 up, but we were still playing a Hearts side who... You know, were more than capable of finding a goal. The side finished third last season, playing in European football. We didn't look as though we were playing with a lot of conviction, I thought, in the second half, as if we wanted to go and get more goals. I thought we looked settled with the 1-0. And listen, I don't think we had to worry too much, because I don't think Hearts presented much for us to worry about. But I was getting very anxious from my seat and from my point of view that it took one dodgy ball to bobble through into their final third, or one dodgy call or whatever, and we'd find ourselves in a position where we didn't capitalise on Rangers dropping points. Albeit that didn't happen. We win the game, so there isn't much to worry about or complain about. But I think it was far from vintage Celtic. It wasn't quite the levels of that 5-0 victory last week against Kilmarnock. Some will argue that's because we're playing a better side. But I don't know, I was hoping that we'd be more emphatic returning to the home crowd after a couple of weeks off. And of course, we've got a couple of weeks to wait again. So I don't know, maybe just a little bit lacklustre in terms of the whole 90-minute performance, but we were in total control, we were in domination of the game, and we got 3 points at the end of the day. So let's do it as we always do on this show. We'll do both halves and then we'll get into the 3 things I've learned. I want to look at some funny comments and replies to the fact that Hearts had men sent off. First half I thought we were very good. That was, you know, I was hoping for more. If we judged it off the opening 45, I wouldn't have said anything of what I said then. If it's just more for me, the second half that I thought we kind of let a little bit of slackness get into our game. We looked a little bit sort of relaxed, more than what we should have been maybe. But we got going quite quickly, and straight from the off, we knew that we were the team on top and we were going to be the better side over the course of the game. Kyogo getting the goal in the 13th minute. Dyson Maeda done a fantastic job of the cross. He meets his countryman, he puts it in the back of the net, and I'm hoping that this game can finally be the game that puts to bed everything about Dyson Maeda. I'm not saying he's the best thing from sliced bread, and I'm not saying we're not allowed to criticise him when he has a poor game, but there has been this sort of overwhelming narrative, I feel like, on social media in particular, that Maeda isn't good enough or he doesn't do enough. The man has now contributed an assist to Celtic every 74 minutes this season. His goal contribution rate from both goals and assists by the end of this season will be terrifying. He'll have a cracking big old number by the end of the season. Simple as that. So I'm hoping that this is the game with his assist in the first half that kind of puts that to bed. I thought in the first half he was great as well. I thought he was looking really good. Of course, using his speed to his advantage as always. But, you know, Hearts just couldn't keep up with us. Their defence were really struggling. Kyogo was making a lot of great runs in behind, a few times being offside, of course. Normally happens. I thought one of the linesmen had dodgy eyes today or something, a wonky eye or something. I feel like there was so many calls that were offside that should have been offside, and then There was one late in the game with Hearts that wasn't called offside. It looked from my angle definitely offside. I need to go back and look. Is it just me, or did the linesman feel they had dodgy eyes or something like that? I don't know. But we got the goal, and from there we kept control of the first half. I feel like we could have definitely had more. I think we were wasteful in a couple of opportunities where, and I think it was O'Reilly. It stands out off the top of my head. It might have been Turnbull, but I'm sure it was O'Reilly. And he has all the time and space from just outside the area, maybe in the D, from just outside the area, and he could definitely have a swing at it. He could do it, and we've done that a couple of times this season, and we've had great results. I feel like he could have definitely done it, but he hesitates and then passes it off out wide, and it amounts to nothing. Because one problem that I had from the game today, and my overwhelming problem from start to finish, was our crossing wasn't good enough. And I know we scored from crosses, right? I know that. But in general, I felt our crossing was very poor today. We were struggling to beat the first man. We were drilling it along the ground and it was going to nobody. Our crossing really needed improved on today. And as the game went on, I felt it got worse. You know, we got the advantage, the main positives of it, and the advantage of it from the goal early on. But then as the game went on, I felt like it just got worse and worse. So that was one of my main criticisms. But apart from that, Kyogo in the first half, brilliant goal. We were in domination of it. Going into half-time, I was thinking to myself, this could be a 2-3-0 for Celtic today. We just kind of let ourselves down a little bit more in the second half, I thought. Second half, yeah, as I said, we were very slack. I felt we gave the ball away a lot, so did Hearts. It was very stop-start from both sides. I don't think anybody could find a real grip on it for large periods of the second half. And we just kind of looked I don't know, unfazed by mistakes. A mistake would happen and it wouldn't give us a kick up the arse. We would just kind of look lackadaisical. That's what I'm saying. It looked as though we were 2-3-0 up already and we had nothing to worry about. I was sitting there thinking, this game can go on its head any moment now. Which was one of the things that was annoying me. But second half, we had to try and find a grip of it somehow. We couldn't quite get there. But once again, Hearts offered nothing. And it's hard to kind of push yourself. And this is the thing that I touched on in yesterday's live stream. This is why adding quality and depth to our squad is very important. Because if the opposition can't push us to be a better team and to give us a kick up the arse, we're going to have players on the bench ready to come and take the places of those who need a kick up the arse. So that's why it's important that we add strength and numbers and depth if we're not getting it from opposition. Because Hearts done nothing. They've done absolutely nothing. They should have looked at Celtic in a very vulnerable position today, and that's it. Not very vulnerable. That's maybe a bit offensive because defensively, I thought Jens Vickers, they looked fine. They looked great. Taylor again, brilliant performance. Juranovic was decent. Could be a bit better. I think it was a bit slack at times, but overall, defensively were fine. But they should have been looking at Celtic today with the slack passes and just not being as up for it in the second half and going, right, let's give this a good go. Let's go for this, and they didn't. God knows why, but we just stayed in control of the game anyway. We find our second goal late in the second half. Georgios Giacomakis towards the final whistle, puts it in the back of the net. Absolutely love him. But Hearts also get 2 men sent off, which was handy. Thank you, SFA. Thank you. Appreciate it. They 2 red cards yesterday, the 2 today. I'm sure the payment will be in the post soon. I'm sure Dermot Desmond's got a lovely big cheque for you. Because that's how some people are acting. Hearts failed to register a single shot on target. As I said, we weren't tested at all, really. Joe Hart had a very easy day. But yeah, I mean, we did create some chances. It was a beautiful one that was set up by some great teamwork and great passing, great movement. O'Reilly was the one that got the shot off in the end, and I think the keeper saves it. And then the rebound was missed as well by, I think it was Hatate. And if we scored from that, it would have been gorgeous. It would have been one of the most gorgeous looking goals of the season, but sadly we did manage to convert. So there were still glimpses of how great Celtic are in terms of how we play normally. But I think the manager puts it best. I'll read out Ange Postecoglou's comments from after the game, and I think he's very much in line with myself and what I think of the game and what the majority, because you were walking away from the stadium and a lot of people saying the same things. It wasn't great today. It wasn't. We can all be honest about that. There's no point sitting here going, fantastic, great again. It's great we got the 3 points, obviously. Let's be buzzing about that. Top of the league, 2 points clear. But in terms of the performance analysis, I think we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. Ange said it was a game where there was no real flow to it. It was very stop-start, hard to get real tempo, and some of it was our own doing. Through that, we still maintained control, and even though it was 1-0 for a long time, I never felt threatened. Their keeper pulled off 2 or 3 good saves to keep them in the game. It's basically what I've been saying over the course of 10 minutes, and he said it in 30 seconds. Lovely. So 3 things that we learned today then. What could we put as our 3 things? First thing, Maida, is what I've already touched on. I want to say that I hope this is sort of the end of the Maida pile on for now. It's been quieter over the past few weeks, but as soon as he has a meh game, it seems like it just starts to get louder and louder. And it's fine to have criticisms. Obviously, it's fine, but I feel like there's been a real agenda with him at times. So I'm hoping that today and his stats reading to this point in the season are something that really kind of shut that up a little bit more. A big shout out to Aaron Moy, actually. I never touched on a great interception or great tackle at the end of the game to kind of break down the play for Hearts. Great interception nonetheless. Well done from him. The other two things that we learned. I think that we just need to be more ruthless at Parkhead. I think that over the course of the 2 home games so far against Aberdeen and Hearts, we haven't been as ruthless. 2-0 victories, of course. We got the 5-0 at Rugby Park. We got a great performance, 3-0 as well against Ross County, or 3-1, sorry, against Ross County. But I don't know, we could be a wee bit more ruthless. I think we can push a lot more in that final third to try and find the back of the net. That's the second thing I would say. And the third thing, we're top of the league looking down on the Rangers, aren't we? That could come back to bite me. It is only match day 4, Ryan Camden. I was being ironic. You know, that's the kind of thing that does get clipped in like 3 weeks' time when they're a point clear. Like, oh, you're not looking down this anymore, and that'll be still match day 5. You're thinking, you've just done the same thing. You've done the same thing as me. Anyway, let's get to some funny reactions from today, shall we? So, obviously, I want to bring in this series on the channel where I, roast some of the most honking takes on a Monday. So, hopefully we can get into that tomorrow if there is enough on the Reddit. If you're not joined the Reddit, feel free to still join it. Also, I got a new phone as well. New phone. We're back on the grid. I was howling at this today. So, a tweet was put up. Just seen Celtic made 11 fouls today, not 1 yellow card. Hearts make 12 fouls and get 7 yellow cards and 2 reds. Kevin Clancy doesn't even hide it, does he? The worst part about this is the fact that he's not watched the game. He's just seen. So for all he knows, right, those 2 red cards could be murders. For all he knows, Cochrane and Civic, the 2 respective players, could have literally shot players to death on the park. But it doesn't matter because he's just seen. He's loaded up Fort Mob. He's went on. 2 red cards. That's unfair, isn't it? No, of course it's not unfair because they were red card offences. 7 yellow cards. Was it actually 7? Was it 7 yellow cards? Doesn't even matter. The 11 fouls that Celtic made, not 1 was a yellow card. When did football become like this? Like, when did it come to the point where you look at that's 7 fouls but not 1 card? The fouls could be anything. As I said, it could range from a tap on the back to literal murder. But no, I just seen it. We just seen it. So it doesn't fucking matter, does it? And then your man Gary, who's always piping up on the Twitter. Gary, Christ. Celtic pummeled off Hearts B team. Hanging on. Step up star man Kevin Clancy to win them the points once again. He's priceless for them. I mean, what can you do? What can you act? Why is it conspiracies for everything? We were dominating. The Hearts didn't have a shot in target. Yeah, Kevin Clancy won them the game. Hearts B team. Hearts B team. Are you joking? Just because they were missing Craig Gordon and a couple of other... Who were they missing? Craig Gordon, Barry Mackay, and somebody else was missing. Craig Gordon, Barry Mackay, and Lawrence Shankland were rested. Right? Shankland's just through the door. He's barely played for them. Craig Gordon, fair enough, he's their best player, but he wasn't played. How is that a B team we played? You know, look at the team. Still, your man Andy Halliday, who you all love, was in the team. Didn't do anything about it, but did he? Because he's shite. Of course, just all spawns from yesterday's offences at Easter Road that's seen 2 red cards for Rangers. It's very tense at the moment over there, of course. They're very much on edge, looking for any referee decision to criticise after that. Understandable, to an extent, I suppose. But I mean, it doesn't help your case when, I get it. Lundstrom's maybe a bit sus. I don't know if I'd have given a red for that. Probably wouldn't have. But, your player was sent off and it had, forearming someone in the face. And now it's referee watch, left, right, centre. Sort your own team out before you look at anybody else's, is what I'd say. I've turned the light off. How's this happened? I think that's a good way to signal the end. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it. We'll see you tomorrow. Top of the league, boys. Gotta love it. Cheerio.